Hello everyone, I'm making another Civil 3D video and I'm going to use again some point cloud data. This will be a point cloud of a floor, and I try to get some information, some data, some CSV file from that scanned floor. So first step I will open Civil 3D metric as always. This data came from a TX8 scanner and it was processed, it was registered with Trimble RealWorks and also processed a little bit. I used automatic cleaning methods, indoor floor auto extractions, sampling also. I tried basically everything I could, and still a little noise left, I think. When I'm looking on the front view, you can see a little bit. I tried to cut out everything, but it's almost impossible for me to do. So I will work with that. It's a pretty good one. So first step, I open a template. And I will need grid lines for to the background to identify the location where the scan was made. For that I need to open another drawing. This should be in projects Civil 3D. This structural drawing has the grids. Alright, just need to wait a few seconds. And I only need the grid lines, so once I can rotate this, just select the area I need, Ctrl C, copy, go back to the other drawing and paste to the original coordinate. Okay, go back to this drawing and I just close. Don't save it. Okay, so I have the grid lines here. That's what I need. I don't know what is that. Okay, so next time I will bring in the point cloud. And I have to find this. I had this, several point clouds here. I tried with 100 mil sampling or 50 mil sampling. The finest floor I could get is this one. Just the exported file is RCS recap file. So I'm selecting this, open. Once it's bringing, I will look this time, and I didn't look last time, so this will be harder. It will be harder to delete and move from on the drawing just accidentally. So I will look onto the drawing. It's all good. So I got the point cloud and I have the location on the grid. So basically we can once I select the point cloud, I do some transparency, so I can see maybe 50%. You can see the grid lines in the background. Also change the point size, and I might just cut out the area I need. Can do some polyline, let's say somewhere here. Need to just cut. Also, if you want, you can, if you don't know the names, you can copy these or leave them and move them to the end of the grid lines. That's just cosmetic things. At the moment, I only need to know where the grid is. So first thing I have to do, select the point cloud, and I have to make a surface from the point cloud. You can do that here on the point cloud page with create surface, like last time we did. Name it floor 1, for example. Go to next. You can select your point cloud and do bit of adjustment. Maybe you don't need every it should be 50 mil, I don't know why it's 35. Let's say it's 100 mil we need for the surface. That should be enough. So reduce the point numbers 215,000. That seems okay. Also use some filtering algorithm just to reduce some more noise, and we can create the surface. It needs a few seconds to create that. Most likely it's finishing now. Once you're done, you can go and delete the point clouds if you don't need anymore, or you can just leave it, up to you. Yep, the surface is here. So if you want, you can just delete the point cloud. So we have the surface, that's the main thing. If you select the surface, if you still think it's too dense, or you want to make it smoother, or have a less point, the thin model have less thins, then you can go and with the edit surface you can simplify it more if you want. You can use the two methods here. I would use the point removal from the surface because it's very dense. Existing surface border, yeah, that's the same, so not changing. And we can make sure we can do this on a percentage we wish to do, and also let's say just I want 25% of the points to remove, and I want to make sure that there is no more than 2 mil change in elevation, so in this case it will be accurate enough. So I just say finish, and you see it's simplifying the surface now. Once it's done, if you go to the surface, you see settings in prospector surface, you see your floor surface. You can go to the surface properties. Also you can go to the surface properties here, and in definition you will be able to see that this simplifying we did just earlier, you can undo. If you unclick this, apply, you can undo this, so it go back to the original. So you can you have these settings here all the time whenever you need to go back for more detailed surface, but I think this is just fine for us. Also, if you want, this is a contour viewing on the surface, and I think this is my contour is usually 1 meter major, and minor is 200 mil. So if you want, you can change that here, edit surface style, add the contours, contour intervals, and let's say my minor would be maybe 5 mil, and a minor is 25 mil, why not? And you see there are more contours now. Of course this is not really good, because that surface is almost flat. It's very close to 66.400 above main sea level. So the contour is maybe not the best. We can do some magic later, I'll show you. At the moment we are okay with this, and we want to create some data on the surface, but later we can bring into like a CSV file or EXE file or something. So how can we do that? The simplest thing is, if you select surface, you don't have to select surface, sorry. If you go to points, create point creation tools, and there are point creation tool page on surface. You can have a random points where you can just select randomly points, or you can have a grid method, or you can do along polyline or along a contour, which along a contour is not really that going to be the same elevation everywhere, so it doesn't, I don't see the point here, but maybe on a polyline, along a polyline, that's what we can use if you create lines of interest, and then you create points on the line on a certain segment, or you can just do a grid like I do now. If you select left bottom corner for the grid and a rotation, normally I do spot levels on X and Y, but this time I want to rotate the X axle to my grid, and also I want a 2 meter by 2 meter grid, and the upper right corner is normally would be here, but since we rotated it will be now somewhere here. Alright, that will give us the area, and we also see the spot levels, the grid. It's like this square. So it's asking me if I want to change rotation or anything. I don't, that's fine. It just needs description code. It will determine what style, what point symbol and label will be added to the point. Let's say spot level, and it's created the very first point here. Of course, I started from here, but there was no surface here, so it's started the next point where it's surface already. So let's stick with that. If you just pressing enter, it's creating points all along on the surface with the interval you set earlier. And later, if you don't like one of the points, you can just delete manually. And once we finished with creating sport levels, we can group them. If you don't want to select all the points and have one file, we can just group them. There's still a few points left. Let's say we're only interested in this section here. Of course, I need to see the points. So you have to make sure that they are visible. Alright. So let's say it's better to have a rectangle for that. And probably you have to select all the way to the label as well. Yes. Once you selected an area, you can see this in a point edit points table. That's all your selected points. If you click on one of them and Ctrl A, you can select all the points. With a right click, you can export these points. Just make sure that the limitation for this is ticked for the selected points only, and then you can give it destination section 1 CSV, and then it's okay. You can close this, and if you see these are the points from that section. So after you can name them or do extra work in the Excel, and then you can select another section, or you can do if you don't want close to the grid lines, then you can have that's what I would do, probably just there is a way to do, for example, if I want a 1.5 meter leave from the grid line left or right, then we can either do another, I just delete these ones, and then we can make this one. And of course there was no so at this 2 meter we couldn't start with that one because there was no surface here. We're supposed to do the next section, probably. That would make sense. So that's one way we can gain some information. Just delete these ones, and let's delete all the points here. And let's say I'm doing something else. Okay. Alright. So that's one way to do. Another way maybe to have an elevation model and maybe give some colors on a elevation further from the design elevation. So using that, maybe it's a better way. I do that one as well, and then you will see how it looks. So this time I have to make an elevation on an analysis of the surface. So I'm going to the service properties, and there is an analysis page here. I have to make an elevation. Make sure it is in range interval with datum, so we can have a datum elevation 66,400, and for the range I would use maybe 5 mil. Alright, and you see that this surface has some really low points and some high. This is not too bad, 25 mil above, but 35, that's a bit lower than. Probably this is some noise I couldn't spot. I missed, and when I was cleaning the point cloud, there could be just maybe 1 or 2 points on the point cloud. So what we can do here, I would like this area, which is the closest to the design elevation, have the brightest. So let's say the green is okay. I'm maybe using green and yellowish red. So let's say this one. Okay, this looks okay to me. So say apply. If you say preview, you will see the analysis coming with a table, and that's how it's going to look like. If you want to change a few things here, for example, we need 3 decimal at minimum and maximum elevation. Then we can go to the style edit, and we can change that here. Okay, so this is the third column, minimum elevation. and the precision I want it's three decimals, so I want to change P2 to P3, so that's 3 decimal. I just go with the arrow and change it. You first click on the text you want to change. Aha, once you click, you see it's changing here, so I change that here then, and then go and change here. That's how it works. Okay, say OK on this column, and let's go to that column. This is maximum elevation. So once you click here, you see it's changing back to 2 decimal. So we change this to 3, and with the arrow change here as well, and say OK. The other is area, that doesn't really matter, so I say apply and OK. And you see it's now 3 decimals. Okay, you won't see it now because it's turned off, but as last time we changed that, we can change now in the surface edit surface style settings in display. Remember last time we turned on and off triangles for editing the surface, like reading the thin model. So we can turn on and off things. I will turn off the major and minor contours, so we don't need this now in model as well. And just focus on elevation. Also, if I want in 3D demo on the model as well, elevation only. Apply. It's going to be a color map. Just press ESC to take off selection, and you see this is how it looks like. This is maybe a better tool to demonstrate the floor flatness. Once you select the surface, and you can go and add the legends for elevation, or if you have other. I think elevation is one thing we could use here. It's asking what we need, slopes or contours. We need elevation, and we need a dynamic one, I guess. Dynamic one is changing all the time. If you change something on the elevation, it will update the upper left corner. Select upper left corner somewhere beside here. Okay, and select. So now you can see in elevation table that the really high low elevation is the red one. The deep red is very small area. It's probably this is some error probably. I messed up when I was cleaning. Yeah, could be just 1 point here. That's it. And also you can change that. If you go select, if you go to edit surface style, you turn on triangles, alright, and you can just, or actually there can be just 1 point, so even if you turn on the point, it's gonna be a lot of point. And I want to edit this surface, which you can actually edit here as well, the same thing. and I can delete the point, this point, and space. Points deleted. Okay. And just rebuild. And there is no more red here. So go back to visual settings, turn off points and triangles. Okay, so ask. So we don't have that red anymore. And this should be refreshed himself. It's probably updated, supposed to. We can also do the same on the highest points. What I think is a few points, maybe this area wasn't really scanned. There was a bigger place was missing, so could be some error here. Yeah, I can see one point here definitely. We could fix that one. You can also see it in 3D. Nice. Just really slow because of my laptop. Yep, if you want, you can make sure it's, if you're in 3D and you don't want to see the table, you can turn off those things here in plan and model view. So just see in 2D. So that's one thing we can do here. I think that's it for now. If you have any question, we can talk about that tomorrow on the meeting. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you for your attention. See you next time.